The last topic we have discussed about what introduction to routers. Like all about routers we have discussed. So let me recap once again what the points we have discussed yesterday. So what is router and types of routers and type of routers, functions of routers, Cisco router types. Like what is the difference between fixed router and modular router and Cisco router categories, external components of a router. So 6 points clearly we have discussed, right? So point number one, what is router? So router is a layer 3 device. Router is a internetworking device. Router enables communication between two or more logical networks. IP of the router. What is the IP we have configured to the router? Generally, we used to recommend it for first usable IP address. I mean, first valid IP address. So IP of the router is a default gateway for all devices in your LAN. Within your LAN, how many devices are available? For all devices, we used to assign what are the router IP is being configured. Okay. Now, next point is a type of routers. Basically, have two types of routers. Type of routers. One is software based, and one more is hardware based. So, software based routers are Windows operating system, like a Windows server and Linux server. So, these servers can act like a router. But we have a dedicated routers are what? Hardware based. Like hardware routers are dedicatedly designed for routing algorithms purpose, for routing purpose, packet switching, packet forwarding, finding based tools. The traffic can send to outside. So hardware routers in the market, we have so many vendors are available, like a D-Link router, MyPur router, Juniper router. So in international market, top most leading manufacturer companies what? Cisco router. These are the type of routers and functions of a router. Router functions are, the first point is internet for communication, communication between two or more different logical networks. Point number two is a best path selection, finding best tools to reach the destination. And point number three is a packet switching, and point number four is a packet forwarding. So as we have discussed, what is a packet switching? So sending IP traffic, IP packet, a data packet from one interface to another interface, like one port to another port within the router internally, right? It's a packet switching. And what is packet forwarding? Like packet forwarding is sending IP packet or IP traffic, data packets from one device to another device, like one router to another router. It's a packet forwarding. Like entire routing can done based on packet switching and packet forwarding only, right? So these are our functions of a router. And the next point is Cisco router types. The Cisco we have a two types of routers. One is fixed router and modular router. Very single point difference is fixed routers are non-upgradable, modular routers are upgradable based on our requirement. Like, and we can upgrade your LAN ports, we can upgrade your WAN ports. Like based on our requirement, we can use to what? Upgrade. Because modular routers are slots are availability. We can add more interfaces in the modular router. Okay? The next point is a Cisco router categories. Like what is Cisco router categories means, like what is Cisco is doing is based upon our organization size and requirement, have divided different categories. Small office, home office, like Soho routers, like business, small business routers, and some branch routers, edge routers, WAN edge routers, network edge routers, ISP routers, core routers. We have a different categories. Majorly, we have discussed about what? Three categories: branch office router, network edge router, and ISP router. Like how we can identify means based upon series, model numbers. If it's a branch router, like 2600 series, 2800, 2900, these are the series. The model numbers is to release every update, latest version, right? And network edge aggregation routers, like 5000 series routers, W500, ISP routers, 6000 series, 9000 series, all are ISP routers. Right? Next, external components of a router. Router external components majorly have a three type of components: LAN interface, WAN interface, and admin interface. Right? of a router. One is LAN port, LAN interface, WAN interface, and admin interfaces. LAN interface are what? LAN interface are Ethernet, or you can say what type of LAN port is a. It can be fast Ethernet, or it can be gigabit Ethernet. So on we have actually like 10 gig, 20 gig, 100 gig. These all are LAN interface types. These all are RJ45 connectors, RJ45 ports. Next one is a WAN interface. WAN ports are nothing but serial ports. The serial ports we have normal serial ports and smart serial port and high speed WAN interface cards. Right? The next point is a admin interfaces. One is a console port and one more is a auxiliary port. These all are router external components. In router external components, LAN interface, first one is Ethernet port. What was the speed of Ethernet port, guys? Can you text me? Ethernet port speed. Up to how much speed Ethernet can support? Ethernet. How much speed can support is what? 10 Mbps. Ethernet can support only 10 Mbps, up to 10 Mbps, right? Fast Ethernet can support up to how much speed? Fast Ethernet is a 100 Mbps. Right. Gigabit Ethernet is a 1000 Mbps. These all are RJ45 ports. Now, WAN interfaces are serial port, normal serial and smart serial. If it's a normal serial, for normal serial, how many pins? Normal serial port. 60 pin. What type of connector? Male connector, female connector. Normal serial, 60 pin, female connectors, right? Smart serial, how many pins? So even 26 pin female connector. Now, what's the difference between normal serial, smart serial, and high speed WAN interface card is a the one slot, how many ports are available? This is a normal serial slot to have only one port. This is a smart serial port. This is a small serial, we have a two ports. This is a high speed WAN interface slot. So we have a fourth port. Right? Now, auxiliary port and console port. Like both are administrator ports. To configure router initially and troubleshooting purpose, we use what? Console and auxiliary port. So console port for local administrator and auxiliary port for remote administrator. Like how do remote administrator can access the router by using auxiliary port means they have to connect from auxiliary port to dial-up modem to internet to remote location can access. So that dial-up modems are nowadays we are not making use much. That is outdated technology. We don't use much auxiliary port nowadays for remote login. So we have one alternate protocols are available to log in remotely. So the protocols are Telnet or we can use what? SSH. Right? Okay. So today let me continue with router internal components. Internal components of a Yesterday, we are continuing the same topic. We have discussed about PC internal components, right? Now, PC internal components are motherboards, processor, RAM, hard disk, ROM, SMPS. So, motherboards, like all hardware components, are being integrated to motherboards. Similarly, router also have a motherboard, like your LAN cards, WAN cards, admin cards, like all are integrated to motherboards. And processor, what are the user inputs, will do the process and we will give the output to a to output devices. And what's the use of RAM for computers? Why generally we use RAM for computer? What's the use of RAM for computer? Guys? So today, let me discuss some hardware part also. So we need knowledge on hardware components also. So let me clearly discuss what is the use of RAM, memory in a buffer. Okay, temporary memory. Okay, so generally people will think RAM for what? Speed, right? Data access. Speed. I see someone is telling me RAM for what? Speed. Actually, not for the speed. RAM, for what purpose? RAM is a storage. RAM is what? For storage purpose. Generally, your laptop or your desktop, whatever, your mobile phone, for you have a RAM, right? My PC is been installed with 2 GB RAM. I have installed one operating system, Windows 7. I have installed. So this Windows 7 file size, let's say 1 GB, and OS has been installed, and later have installed some softwares in my computer. So all the softwares are in 500 MB file. I'm using some applications in my computer. Application sizes are 400 MB. Now, if you power on, if you switch on my PC, what PC will do now? So primarily, this all the information will be stored in your RAM. So because RAM is a primary storage device, your operating system will be stored in the RAM, your softwares, your applications, like all the information will be stored in where? RAM. What's the size of RAM? Now here, 2 GB. So once if your operating system is loaded, 1 GB is finished. The remaining 1 GB is there. Now once if softwares have been loaded, 500 MB is been finished. Once application have been loaded, 400 MB is been finished. Now remaining space in my RAM now, only 100 MB, right? Okay. So with the 100 MB, what I'm doing is I have opened one Excel sheet to write my account something. I open Excel sheet. So once I open Excel sheet, now 100 MB is also been finished. So we know why. Like if you open any application, your primary will be go for what? RAM. If you open the browser, if you open the emails, if you open the notepad, if you open any application, will be stored in with RAM. So now my 100 MB is also been finished. Later, I open one more page for typing a letter, word page, word page. So this word page information to store here. So do you have a memory in the RAM here now? No. So 2 GB is being occupied. Then what PC will do? Your PC is being hanged. Why? Because no storage. Then what we'll do? We'll close the previous window. Have closed the Excel sheet. Now your word pad being opened, I can do something type. Like after some time, I open my email web browser. So to open the web browser, do you have the storage here? No. The piece is being hanged. And what we'll do? We'll close the word pad. Now I can open the mail. Like after some time, you're trying to open some applications, then what happened here? Your PC is going to hang frequently. Then what we will think, oh, my PC has been getting slow, very slow. I can't run some multiple tasks actually. I can use only any one application only. If I'm opening multitasking, then my PC is not supporting, is very getting slow. And go for hardware shop. We'll tell to hardware shop, make me my PC is very fast. Then what hardware part will do? The shop one, yeah, give me 4,000 or 5,000 something amount. What they will do? They'll increase your 8 GB RAM. So now in RAM is a 8 GB, right? Now, so if your OS has been updated, installed, your softwares are being installed, your applications are installed, so still we have a 6 GB remaining space is there. Now we can run your multiple tasks. You can open the mail, you can open the movies, you can play the game, like anything, right? Now what we will think now? Yes, now my PC is very fast now. But technically, what happened here is all the information primary will be go to store in with RAM, but RAM is a temporary storage. RAM is what? Temporary storage. So why RAM is temporary storage? So because once your PC is being power on, RAM can hold the information. Is all information is being updated. So once your PC is being shut down, if PC is a shutdown, there is no power supply for RAM, right? So when there is no power supply for RAM, so inside of what information available is all the information is being erased. No power supply. So this type of behavior we call volatile memory. RAM is what? Volatile. So RAM is required the power supply to store the information, to hold the information. So let me show you one small practical here. At present, my laptop, open the task manager. What is the application running in my computer now? Present now is here apps, applications, Windows Explorer, and the Paint pages, Packet Tracer, Notepad, PowerPoint. These all the applications are running, right? Next, background process. Virtual machines are being running. The background process, how many services are running here? 109 services are being running in my backend process background, right? So all the information is being stored in where? RAM. Your memory here, 9% is being The 4 GB RAM means mostly 70% has been what? So these all applications running now. If suddenly my laptop is being powered off, my laptop is being restarted. Now my paint page and WordPad can I get back again now? No. Right? Why? Because is all the files are being stored in a RAM. So once the power supply is being stopped for the RAM, it's been erased. So RAM is a temporary storage only. It is not a permanent storage. So why RAM is a temporary storage? RAM required power supply to store the information, right? Same point. Router also. Router also we have here. Components. One is a example. Is this? RAM. RAM is a temporary storage. Why? It's a volatile memory, right? What's the use of it? All the configuration files. Let me take the diagram of router. This router name configured as a router 1 or Zoom AMPT 1. Zoom Amirpet router 1. It's a no, name of the router, right? And for this router have assigned IP address is 192.168.1.1. First usable IP address. Okay. Now, if anyone, someone, unknown person is trying to access my router, so to provide security, what I'm doing is for router console port, I configured passwords. And for routing protocols, I configured to find the best routes. So this all the configuration will be primarily will store in where? RAM. Which one? IP address of the router, host name of the router passwords, routing protocols, like entire router configuration path. Where will store primarily? In RAM. Short form you can say temporary configuration. Okay. But if you log into router, this temporary configuration file name. What's the file name? The file name is running hyphen. You know what router will do? Router copy the configuration from NVRAM into router always works. This statement RAM is temporary configuration. Main point is file name is a running configuration. Router copies from where to where? NVRAM into RAM. Router always works with what? Works RAM configuration. Hey, configured IP address to router, password to router, host name to the router, routing protocols is all the information. Where will store? So primarily this information stored in where? RAM, right? RAM is a temporary storage. Why RAM is temporary storage? Is a volatile memory. Okay. So what happened after some time if my router is a restarted? Maybe power supply is down for my power supply is gone for my router. Can you get back again the IP address of router, host name of the router, password to the router, like all configuration has been what? Erased. So this router RAM is also what? Temporary configuration. Then we need a one permanent configuration file, one permanent storage. So generally in your computers, what was the permanent storage? The computers generally, what was the permanent configuration? For router also, we required one permanent configuration memory. So that permanent configuration, anyhow, we don't have a hard disk for your routers. Similar to hard disk, we have one more memory. We call it is what? NVRAM, non-volatile. So means power supply is not required to store the information for the NVRAM. For the RAM, we require a power supply. When we have the power supply, if power supply 24/7 is there, then no problem. If power supply is being down, information is being arise. That storage we call what? One more is a NVRAM. Non-volatile random access memory. Now let me take about NVRAM information. NVRAM is what, guys? NVRAM is a permanent configuration. Okay. File name of NVRAM. the file name? Like RAM file name is a running configuration, right? Like NVRAM file name is a startup configuration. Start, startup hyphen is a file name. You know what router will do? Router always uses NVRAM. For what purpose? For configuration when booting up. These are about two major components of routers. One is what? RAM and NVRAM. Hello, can you hear me? You're getting me a point here. See, Intel components of router majorly 2 points. One is what? RAM and NVRAM. And RAM is a temporary storage. So we clearly discussed why temporary storage is a volatile. Power supply is required. Primary device. If we configure IP address to router, password to router, is all the information primarily will stored in with RAM. If RAM is being restarted, then what we need to do? So whatever you are going to configure, information is being copied. Information will be stored in a what? RAM. So as network engineer, what we do means this information we need to copy to where? NVRAM, permanent storage. Like generally, see, whatever I'm using here, paint page. So this paint page present on which memory is there? It's in the which memory in my computer? This paint page at present is storing in where? RAM. If my PC is restarted, can I get back the paint page? All right. But I need a permanent storage this one. Then what I need to do? Save. What is generally we use command what? Control S. Same thing here also. So generally your router configuration will be stored in a RAM. But what we'll do means from RAM to going to save to where? NVRAM. NVRAM is a similar to hard disk. What's the file name of RAM? Running configuration. So what's the file name of NVRAM? Startup configuration. So means from where to where we to copy the files is all the configuration. Just use the command is a copy running configuration to startup configuration. Like this. Wait a minute. Clear about RAM and NVRAM? Two components. Clear everyone? Generally, for a computers, we have a one more component is what ROM. You know what is the use of ROM? ROM stands for what? Read-only memory. Okay, right. Everyone knows about that. But what is the use of it? What type of files will be stored in the ROM? In RAM, running configuration files will be stored, which is permanent temporary storage file or primary storage file. So that is Pradeep. That is a DVD and the CD-ROM. That is not an talking about. The chip inside your which is integrated in your motherboard. See for RAMs, the RAM running configuration, NVRAM startup configuration. Similarly, what about ROM? Uh, for your ACs, washing machine. Example AC, by using remote control, we can increase, we can decrease the temperature, we can turn off it, we can turn on, we can speed, we can increase, right? But how the AC machine will come to know? So the 16 points are very cool and with the 23 points like medium, like how the machine will come to know and turn off and turn on the speed mode, the fan mode, and cooling mode, hot mode. How the machine AC machine will come to know, guys? Even your washing machines also, just use the power on, right? And start button. That's it. Water level, washing, swimming, swing, everything is been automatically happens. Like how washing machine will come to know? So these all devices are programmed. We are just giving we are just giving the power. That's it. Then automatically, based upon that program, action is happening, right? Even your AC machine, your washing machine, like all electronic components are being programmed. Instructions is there. You device, take water level this much and start washing. AC. So this is 16 temperature, 16 points. Like go to the cool. Like is already every electronic device is what? Programmed. So that program we call boot program. Even your computers is been starting up, right? We just a start button we used to press. That's enough. Now what my PC is doing is going to searching your operating system where it present hard disk. In hard disk again we have a different partitions. So C drive, D drive, F drive, like some partitions here. In which partition we have the operating system is there, like how exactly your PC will come to know. Is going to searching automatically is going to find the operating system in your hard disk. One of the partitions called the C drive. We are not linked to PC, right? Hello laptop, go to hard disk and C drive, and we are not telling. Just we are what we'll do on power button, the single click. Electronic device, your mobile phones, everything is being programmed. So that program permanently will stored in which memory is a RAM, sorry, ROM, right? Same like a router also. The router also, how router is booting up. Once you switch on the router, is booting, right? Like how router is booting means based upon the program. That program we call bootstrap program for router. For computers we call BIOS. So BIOS will be stored in your ROM chip, basic input output system. Let me take the statements of ROM for information present inside the ROM settings. read-only memory. Here, what type of files will be stored here? It is means boot program. We call bootstrap program. Bootstrap program loader, or we can call it as a mini iOS mini operating system. What is the function of this program? What boot program will do? Generally, what BIOS will do? So BIOS is going to give the instructions to computer. You go to find the where the operating system file is present. Now OS is present in your C drive. So OS is present in your CDs. OS is present in your pen drive. Like where exactly your operating system is there is going to searching, right? That we call finds the location. Location of complete iOS operating system where it is present. But in the ROM, what type of iOS already present here? The mini operating system is not a complete operating system. Only for just what? To boot up. But where exactly complete iOS is present, it is going to find the location. In your computers, your complete operating system will be present in your C drive, right? Hard disk and C drive in the partition. But what about routers? The computers can work with operating system. That operating system can be a Windows or Linux, but routers can work with also operating system. So that operating system we call iOS, Inter-Network Operating System. So this iOS can work in only Cisco routers. iOS is a Cisco proprietary. So where iOS will present in your router? So to show the operating system only in Cisco routers, we have a special one external and internal. One more type of memory is available. So that memory we call flash cards. Like what type of files will present in flash? The complete operating system will be stored. iOS image. Your iOS images, the names. I'll show you one example. iOS image name. Always it should be extension with .bin files. iOS file name, image name. Example. Extension with what? .bin. So these all are router internal components. RAM, VRAM, ROM. These all are memories. So what type of files will be stored in a iOS extensions .bin files. So four types of memory in a routers. One is RAM, NVRAM, ROM, flash. What type of files guys will present in RAM? What's the file name of RAM? RAM file name, running config, good, temporary files, primary files. NVRAM. What type of files will present in NVRAM? Startup configuration files. Okay, in ROM, what type of files will present in ROM? Bootstrap program, Bootstrap loader, right? Which we call mini iOS. So what is the function? What is the action of Bootstrap program? So ROM is going to find the location of where complete iOS is present. So where exact? No, BIOS for computers. I'm talking about router. BIOS for what? PCs. Okay, right. Here, what is the function of ROM? What ROM will do is going to find the location where exactly complete iOS file is present. But in your router, where complete file iOS will present? In flashcards. Exactly. So ROM is going to find the complete iOS file in flash and is going to loading that and is going to store in your ROM. Right? This is the process. These are all our router internal components. Okay, guys? You can copy the notes. Let me show you the previous slide. Here, internal components of a router, RAM and VRAM. The next slide is two more components which are ROM and right. You open the router. Inside the router, we can have these are the motherboards that are connected to here. First one is SMPS power supply. Is what is the flash cards where your iOS complete iOS file is being present. The boot program will be stored in your ROM. Is the ship here and RAM DIMMs like how we have PCs inside the PC have a RAM DIMM, right? RAM. This CPU is a processor. The location. The RAM DIMMs you can use for NVRAM and RAM also. Here, flashcards. The flashcards are some devices which is older version device have a inside of the router, right? But nowadays, the latest routers has a external flashcards. Like how we are inserting a memory card for your smartphone. Similarly, we have some flash cards is it. So the cards we use insert in your router memory. So this is about routers completely we have done. 7.4 router, internal components, external components, router categories, router types and functions, type of routers and routers, all about routers knowledge. Right. Let me start about to configure router. Are you ready? Initial configuration of router. Shall we discuss now? Hello, can you hear me, guys? Right. So today our main topic is we are continuing with a history topic which is router internal components. And today the main topic is what? Initial configuration of router. Like how to configure router initially when you purchase a brand new router. So you are a engineer, network engineer for so-and-so company. So your task is your senior manager, your senior administrator is giving one task to you. The task is, yes, we have a stock is there. So in your stock room, so get 5 routers and get 2 routers, which is a new stock is came and configure it. This is your task. And maybe from different branch, some devices came and do some initial configuration of this router. So that is your task. And how we can do it? So maybe if you go for interview, so they can give one task to you. So can you take this out and configure and show me the output? Like this, they will ask actually. Today, the task is how to configure initially. What was the first step? What is the connectivity? Or what type of cables? What type of configuration? Like all about the configuration of a basic configuration of router. Let me discuss. So to clearly understand this initial configuration of router, let me make one network diagram here. Open the paint page. Yeah, I have purchased one router. This is a router. It can be a branch router. It can be a network edge router. It can be a ISP router. Any categories of router, the same company, same like. Okay. So my example, I purchased 2800 series router. This branch office router, right? So now you tell me, guys, for this router, what are the external components? Generally, for any routers, we have a so 3 external components, right? What was it? LAN ports, LAN ports, and admin ports, right? So even 28600 router also have purchased. For 28600 router, we have a 3 components, right? Let me draw it now. 3 components of router. The first one is a LAN port. So now you tell me, guys, what the types of LAN ports? A LAN port can be a Ethernet port, or it can be fast Ethernet, or it can be gigabit, or it can be more than gigabit also, right? It depends upon which model number you have purchased. So here, my example, my LAN port is FE. FE means what, guys? Fast Ethernet, right? And port number 0/0. This is my LAN. So from router LAN ports, the first point about router LAN port I'm telling is very important point. Remember it. So this is a brand new router, right? We just purchased from stock, new stock when we say the just brand new router. So this router LAN ports by default status the port is in a shutdown state. Completely your port is what? Down. We cannot use it now. The LAN port is we cannot use it. Even if you connect the cable also, it doesn't work. You know why? Why? Because already your LAN port has been what? Shut down. And even we don't have any IP address of this port. No IP address. Same point for your router WAN port also. Now tell me guys, what are the WAN port types? WAN ports are serial ports. It can be normal serial or smart serial or high speed WAN interface. That can be any serial. So serial port also default state is a down, shutdown. It's also shut down. We don't get default no IP address. Now admin ports. Moreover, admin ports. Admin ports are what? Console port, right? So for admin port is a console port, right? Admin ports are console and auxiliary. Auxiliary is not outdated. Is outdated. We don't use much. Then we'll go consider about what console. Router LAN ports is connected to switch with RJ45 cable, CAT cables. Router LAN port 2. So first understand clearly connectivity from router LAN ports. Yesterday we clearly discussed your D-Link LAN port is connected with your PCs, right? What about WAN ports from ISP? WAN port is connected, right? Same thing here also. Router from LAN port to directly can be a computer, but from router LAN port to how many computers can connect? Only one PC, right? But I have 100 computers in my network. Have a 200 computers in my network. Have a 1,000 pieces in my network. Then what we need to do? Use a switch. Okay. Not patch panel. First, you need to use the switches actually, right? Even patch also, but technically the switch and switch to end user devices. Number of devices. But this router, brand new router, IP address is not there and LAN port is shut down. So means LAN users can communicate to router now. Not at all possible. Even we have connectivity is there, but port is not configured. A port is down. A port is shut down. No IP address. No communication. No access now. Then how we can configure? Then how we can provide the basic initial configuration means? So from network administrator computer, what network administrator PC will do means they'll use one special cable to configure router initially, which we call it is a rollover cable. So first requirement to configure router initially, the first we need what? Purchase one rollover cable. Rollover cable, or we can call it as a console cable. Let me show you in the diagram. Rollover cable diagram. Have you seen this guys? Have Have you seen this type of cables? See here, one end is a RJ45 pin, right? Other end is showing is this is a serial like DB9 pin, 9 pin actually, blue, 9 pin, blue one, right? One end is what? RJ45. Other end is a 9 pin port. So this 9 pin port is connected to a computer serial port. And RJ45 pin is connected to router. But nowadays we have a laptops. For laptop, we don't get serial ports in the market. One more type of a roller cable available. One is a RJ45. What about guys? Other end? USB console cable, USB to RJ45 cable, right? USB to RJ45. So USB connect to your laptop, RJ45 connect to your router console port. So this cable we call console cable, or we can call it what? Roller cable. So this is mandatory. You must. It's clearly showing one end is a DB9 pin, other end is what? RJ45. Connect to router, connect to laptop. What was the question? RJ45 8 pin, the side 9 pin. Yeah, the connectivity type is what? Even the other side is a 9 pin. 9 pin is connected to your PC serial port. Other end of the cable. Let me open that. You can see here clearly. One end is a RJ45. RJ45 is what? Connect to router. Other end is DB9. Connect to laptop. If laptop don't have a DB9 pin, then what we'll do? Don't purchase this type of cable. Purchase one end is RJ45. Other end should be what? USB. USB cable. So this cable we call what? Roll over cable, or we can call what? Console cable. So by using this cable, we can configure initially routers, switches, firewalls, like all any networking devices we by using this cable only. Right, I have purchased a console cable. Now back to our main topic here. Background byte. Background byte. Now I have purchased roller cable. Connectivity is also done. Let me draw a cable from router console port to my PC is connected. So this cable we call the console cable. Okay. So after connectivity from network administrator PC, we require some applications. We need some softwares. We need some third-party softwares to access router console port. So cable is connected, but we require what one? Some applications are required, some third-party applications. So that applications we call the second requirement is a emulation software. So which software is required means it depends upon your computer which operating system is running. If network administrator PC is a Windows machine, Windows computer, it can be a 7 or it can be Windows 10 or XP, like any Windows server, a client, any Windows server, we require software is called Putty software. Or you can use hyper terminal. If network administrator PC is a Linux computer, it is a Linux, then a software we call the Minicom. This software is required. Okay, so this software is we call emulation software. The main point is here, have the Windows operating system, which software required guys? Putty or hyperterminal. So this hyperterminal putty, by default, there is no applications inside your Windows machine. So these applications we need to download from your Google server. Free of applications, very small applications. You can simply download it. But if you have the Linux computer, for any flavor of the Linux, by default, we have a Minicom application is there. So even someone is been using in our meeting in us, I think so, is in Cento S7, right? So if you check in your computer, which is a virtual machine, you can get the Minicom software. Right? So these softwares we call what? Simulation software. These are the basic requirements to form to configure router initially. Copy the network diagram now. What are the tasks we need to do? What we need to configure? The first task is, so when you purchase a brand new router, so first we need to define one name for the router. Generally, in your companies, you are counting number of routers, 2 routers, 30 routers, or a number of routers, right? If you don't have a name, you'll get confused. So the networking, every device has to be what? One name. So that name we call the host name. Host name. The first task. A host name you can configure any name, any you wish. Your name or your company name, any name you can use actually. Right? But in the real time, host name is being configured. Recommended is based upon your organization name and area name. Let's say I am working, my organization name is what? Zoom Technologies. Now, Zoom Technologies have a number of branches in a like India wide. In Surat, in Hyderabad, in AP, we have a number of branches, right? Even here, Hyderabad, we have a multiple branches. So I used to work in a Amirpet branch. In Amirpet, you have a 10 routers. I'm a network engineer. So these 10 routers I need to configure. So what host name I need to configure? What is the recommended? So for each router, I need to configure based upon what? My organization name and area name. Zoom Technologies Amirpet Router 1. Zoom Technologies Amirpet Router 2. TCS Hyderabad 1. TCS Hyderabad 2. IBM Chennai, IBM Bangalore. Like Act Fiber Corporation Area 1. ACT Broadband Area 2. Area 3. Like they used to configure host name like this. The host name is recommended is a area name and organization name, company name is a combination. Okay? How we can use any name also, but recommend. So this is our first task, and second task is, so do you have IP address to LAN port by default? There is no IP address, right? Now we have to set one IP address to your LAN port. So which IP address you can set means you can use class A also, class B also, or class C also. It depends upon your number of networks required, number of host requirements. If my company has a very less number of hosts, very few number of hosts, have a 100 computers, then go for class C. If my company has a very huge number of networks, hosts, very huge number of devices are available, we go for what? Class A, right? But which IPs we have to assign means from class A, class B, class C, also we have private IP and public IPs, right? So which IPs do you recommended to assign IP address to LAN port? Within the LAN, for LAN ports, we have to use exactly. We have to use what? Private. Very good. Private IP address. It can be Class A private IP or Class B private IP or Class C private IP. So that is our second task is let me assign one private IP address to my LAN port from any one of the class A or B or C. So my example, I have decided to assign class C example private IP. So now you tell me guys, tell me one example for class C private IP address. Class C private IP address. One 192.168 2.10 okay, but we already number of times we have discussed for router first usable IP address is what recommended. First valid IP. I decided to assign router and saying 192.168.1.1 or 2.1 or 3.1 or 10.1 anything. My example is 1.1. So second task is IP address to which port, guys? IP address to which port? LAN interface. So try to call it as interfaces. Ports, forget it. It's normal language. Technical terminology is what? Interface. WAN interface, LAN interface, like this. Okay, right. IP address to LAN interface. And third task is, so what was the default status of LAN ports? The LAN port state is what? Shut down. Means we need to activate it. Activate LAN interface. Next, fourth task. So we have assigned host name for the router, and we have set the IP address to LAN ports. I mean LAN interface, and we have activated the LAN interface also. Network administrator is connected to router via which port, guys? Network administrator is connected to router through which port? Console port. By using which cable? Console cable. Like by using which applications? Like emulation software, right? So who can get these emulation software and rollover cable? These applications are only can have only some companies. Rollover cable can purchase only for some companies. Everyone have an amount like 600 rupees can go to hardware shop and ask, give me one rollover cable. They can give you, right? So if you Google it, so download, you can download the Putty software also. If anyone has a roller cable and emulation software, so we can also connect to your router, right? So this is can be a attacker, but router don't know who is a network administrator, who is a attacker, right? So means our router is not secure. So to provide security for router, what we'll do means, so when someone is being connected to router via console port, your console port should go for authentication methods. Means it said what? Password. Password to which port? Password to console port, right? Okay. So these all are our basic configurations. 4 points. Last is host name, IP address to LAN interface, activate the LAN port, and password to console port. Clear? Are you getting the points? Now, how to configuration? So generally, Cisco routers can work with what operating system? Which operating system? IOS, Cisco IOS, Internet Network Operating System. Like the Cisco IOS can have a different type of versions. So that is basic is 12.1 iOS version and 12.2 iOS version and 12.3 iOS version. Like we have a 12.4 and 15.1 after 15.1, whatever, like 15.1A or 15.1B, some later, 15.1 later. These all are the Cisco iOS versions. What is the difference is like 12.1, 12.2, 12.3 iOS versions can only support to configure any protocol with IP version 4 address only. So iOS versions does not support for to configure protocol with help of what? IPv6. But the protocol, like iOS versions, which are from 12.4, 15.1, or later iOS version can support to configure protocols with IPv4 address as well as and IP version 6 also. And these iOS versions cannot support for some advanced protocols to configure. So before configuration of router, you make sure that which router you are going to configure, which iOS version is going to configure. So when you are preparing your profile for apply the jobs, in your profile you can mention I have hands-on practice with Cisco 2800 series, so Cisco 2900 series, and I have a hands-on practice with Cisco iOS version 15.1 and 12.4. Like we can we can define that, we can mention this type of points actually, right? Is it clear? Can you hear me, guys, all of you? Right. Perfect. Yeah, iOS versions are 12.123, 12.4 and 15.1. See, you can see here, you can read it, you can understand our more. So these Cisco iOS versions can support to configure two methods. One is GUI, graphical user interface. The one more is a CLI. Two methods, CLI and GUI. Example, I have opened my web browser. At my home, I'm using some D-Link router for internet access, generally home-based router, 192.168.0.1. I had that in 92. So this is the page, right? HTTP web browser I have opened. We log into router. So here I can change the configuration. I can change the IP address. I can change the passwords, like Wi-Fi passwords, whatever the Wi-Fi wireless passwords. So this configuration we call this what? GUI. But mostly Cisco routers is in the real time. We used to recommend for what type of configuration what? CLI through commands, command line interface. In our program, we are going to discuss completely router configuration based on what? CLI method. Okay. The next point is is a very important point, guys. Now, so try to focus on it now. So generally, for in companies, a network team, we have what type of team is a network operation centers, NOC team, L1 team, L2, L3, network engineer, network administrator, network specialist. Like we have a different type of teams, is it? So to avoid confusion, when if you go for your real time, your companies you can have a more details about what is a NOC team will do, what is the roles and responsibilities L1 team, L2 team. But as per today, I'm giving only two job roles. One is a junior and one is what? Senior. Two job roles. Senior network administrator and junior network administrator. Two job roles. So junior administrators in a companies, what is the roles and responsibilities of companies is a so junior administrators only is going to monitor your network traffic. So junior administrators, there is no privileges to configure the router. I mean, junior administrators, there is no privilege to change the host name, to change the IP address, or to change the active the port, to change the passwords, nothing. There is no access to router configuration for what? Junior administrators, like there is no full privileges, only limited privileges of junior administrators. So junior administrators can log into router, but only what? Limited privileges. That is, they can ping like a trace route, how many packets have been transmitted, a link state is what, is it down or active, what was IP address is being configured by senior administrator. The short form you can say junior administrators roles and responsibilities is a network traffic monitoring. Then who can configuration of router? Senior administrators can go to log into router. They can assign the class A or class B and submit mask or passwords, any routing protocols, completely configuration can be taken about what? Senior administrators. The same thing like Cisco IOS also internally we have different type of Cisco IOS modes. The modes, Cisco IOS modes are, first one is a user mode. And second one is a privilege mode. And one more is a global configuration mode. How we can identify which is a user mode, which is the privilege mode means based on symbols. R, router. Router with greater than symbol is user mode. Router with greater than symbol. And router with hash symbol is privilege mode. Router with config hash. Config hash is a global configuration mode. Let me make the clear picture on it. Cisco IOS modes. Here, task for initial configuration, hosting, IP address to LAN interface, password to console, enable to some configurations are actually. First one. Is it clear now? Right? So first one we call it is a user mode. User mode for what? Junior administrators. For what purpose? Network monitoring purpose. So user mode, administrators, network monitoring, right? Like how we can identify which is the user mode? Router with gradient symbol is a user mode. And next mode is what? Privilege mode. How we can identify privilege mode based upon the symbol called what? Hash symbol. For senior administrator. In the privilege mode, what we can do means we can do what? Verification and monitoring both. But the thing is what in the user mode, what we can do? Network monitoring only. Like basic commands, we can simply say ping command, trace route command. Very few commands can work in user mode. So being on the user mode, we cannot assign the host name, we cannot set the password, we cannot set the IP address. So no configuration. We can just do what? Traffic monitoring only. Even the privilege mode also, which is hash symbol also, we cannot configure router. Then what we can do? 2 points. One is what? Verification and monitoring. So verification means I have purchased one router, right? So this router is a which model number? 2800 series or 2900 series or ISP router, which model number? And how many LAN ports are available? And what LAN port types? Is it Ethernet ports or fast Ethernet ports or gigabit ports? How much speed it can support? How many WAN ports? How many LAN ports? And admin ports? And the status of LAN port? RAM size, NVRAM size, like all about router hardware and software information we can check. If already is configure is done, that configuration, like whatever the verification about router we can do in the which mode is guys? Privilege mode. Symbol is what? Hash. Okay. But from which mode you can start configuration of router? Config hash. The config hash mode we call what? Global configuration mode. So what is the symbol of global configuration mode? Is a config hash. So from here we can start doing configuration. Like after global configuration mode, again we have a different sub modes. Is a 1, 2, 3 modes. The first one we call it is a -if. This is interface mode. Interface mode for to configure LAN interface IP address and WAN interface IP addresses. The next mode is a -line. -line mode for what purpose is a to configure passwords to console port, password for auxiliary port, password for telnet purpose, login purpose, like password. One more is a -router. -router is a to configure routing protocols to find the best routes. So routing protocols are what? To configure RIP or to configure OSPF or to configure EHRP or to configure BGP. These all routing protocols can be configured in which mode is guys? Router mode. So you want to set a password to router, which mode is guys? Line mode. If your task is a, if you want to assign the IP address to LAN port or WAN port, so which mode guys we use? Interface mode. If your task is a, we need to verification about, you want to know about your router hardware information, you want to know about router current status information, you want to check your router running configuration files, startup configuration files, then which mode did you go? Hash mode, which is privilege mode. Network monitoring can done in the which modes? User mode and privilege mode, both can be monitored. So based upon task, so based upon your task, we have a respective modes are available. Right? User mode, privilege mode, global configuration, interface, line, and router. So let me ask you some few questions here. So now my task is I need to do assigning IP address to LAN port. Which mode is possible, guys? Tell me. Perfect. Interface mode, right? Okay. Now my requirement is I need to set the some password to console port. Which mode is possible, guys? Line mode. Very good. So now my task is I need to configure routing protocols called OSP of some routing protocol to configure. Which mode is possible, guys? Router modes. Perfect. So now my task is I want to know my router, which model number and which type of LAN ports, which type of WAN ports is available. So which mode is possible, guys? Router hash, which is privilege mode, right? So like based upon our requirement, based upon a task, we have our respective modes are available. So now I hope we have a full clarification about all the modes. Now we have a full knowledge about router components, internal components, external components, router iOS modes, and router iOS versions, and which mode used to which purpose. So now we have a clear idea about Cisco routers, right? So based on this idea, now we can start configuration. Now we can go for what? Practical. Let me start the practical. Let me open a packet tracer software. Cisco packet tracer student.
Sir, can you tell a little bit about the Cisco packet tracer, like the versions, especially student, professional?
Actually, in internet, there are so many there. Which is a comfortable, which is a download usable, which is working properly. You can use any one. No, it's not an issue. But I used to recommend it 6.2, but it is not available. I think so. But 7.2, 7.0 is there. You can download it. Right. I'm taking here router model number here showing is what 2620, 2621, 2811, 2901. Like let me take one 2621 XM here and switch end user devices. Device 1, device 2, device 3, device 4, 5 device example. And connectivity, straight cable, cross cable, fiber cable, phone cable, coaxial, serial, different type of connectivity. Straight through cable used to connect different type of device. Crossover cable used to connect for same type of device. So crossover cable used to connect what? Same type of device means PC to PC, router to router, switch to switch, like side cable, different type of devices, router to switch and switch to PC, like. Okay. Or else if you confuse, the first one is what automatic choosing connection type. We can take it. So click on router, switch to end user device. This is the connectivity. The next one is a console. In the real time, what will do generally? Say this was network administrator. What network administrator PC will do? Will take console cable. From console cable, router, console port to your PC RS-232 port. This is the real-time scenario, right? But now, in your Cisco packaging software, this is not required. Just click on your router, directly your CLI mode will be open. CLI. The CLI, if you click on CLI, so here showing the first one dialog here. Continue with the configuration dialog. The dialog is not required. You can skip it, and by pressing type no and press enter. So can you tell me, guys, the which mode? Router user mode, rather than symbol. Can I assign IP address here? Can I set the host name here? No. So what we can do here means we can do network monitoring like a ping command, traceroute command, right? So then which mode you can get? Next mode is what? Privilege mode. To get privilege mode, type command is a enable, enter. Now router hash. In the router hash, we can verify all about router information. Router model number, router series, like router LAN port and WAN port, all about router information you can check here, right? So how we can check? So basically, to verification about router, the common command is what? Show command. Show version, show running config, show startup config, like show. Generally, common command is what? Show. Show version. Enter. Version 12.2. So 12.2 iOS version means it can support only for to configure what? IPv4 address only. Okay, now next is a Cisco 2621 model number and fast Ethernet. Two LAN ports are available. 32 kilobytes of NVRAM, 32 KB NVRAM configuration, and compact flash memory, 63488 kilobits of what? The last time showing the more, right? That means we have what more information. To get that, please press enter. Press enter. RAM. Show. What's the RAM files? File name. Show space. Running hyphen config. Enter. So here you can get your host name of router. What is the default host name of router? The router itself. And press keep enter. Enter. Long press you can use or space button also. Interface fast Ethernet 0/0. No IP. And port is shut down. For fast Ethernet 0/1, no IP, the shutdown. So let me configure. Now from privilege mode to get global configuration mode, command is a configure terminal. Enter. Host name. Host name is what? My example, I'm typing his host name is a India. Host name single space India. But our discussions, what we recommended host name. So host name always should be what? A combination of organization name and area name. Host name. Let me change the host name. Zoom Tech Amirpet. See, my host name is being changed, right? Zoom Technology Amirpet. Like this. So this is our first task is being done, right? Now first task is host name to router. So not only assigning host name, let me show you how to remove the host name also. So very best example, like very easy configuration of Cisco router. To remove anything in the Cisco router, just add no command before the command. No host name, no IP address, no like active the port, like no password, something like any configuration command. Just add what? No command to remove it. Then what is the command to remove the host name? To assign the host name command is a host name. Then what about to remove it? Just use what? No space host name. Enter. The default name it can be what? Router. Host name is being removed. Let me continue with host name is a India. So again, we no need to type host name India. So just if you use the up and down arrows, the previous commands will come back actually. Right? Host name India, enter. The second task is a IP address to LAN port. So which mode it can possible? Interface mode. To get interface mode, command is what? Type interface. So what type of interface of the router? My interface type is what? Fast Ethernet. And number is 0/. If my router has a Ethernet port, then what was the command? Interface Ethernet 0/0. If my router has a gigabit Ethernet, then use command is what? Gigabit Ethernet 0/. But as per my example, my router has an out present what type of LAN port, guys? Is a fast Ethernet, right? Then command is what? Fast Ethernet number is 0/0. Enter. IP space address. For example, 192.168.1.1. Enter. Showing is what now here? Incomplete command means command is what? Not completed. So this IP address is belongs to class A or B or C. Class C. That we know. By seeing the range we can understand. But how my router interface can understand it based upon what? Good. Subnet mask. So what will be the subnet mask of this IP address, guys? IP address 192.168.1.1 space 255.255.255.0. Enter. So after that, now only my router can understand 192.168.1 is the network portion, and last one is a host portion. No, we can't define the /24 here actually. Subnet mask like this only. 255.255.0. Okay. Right. So next task is also finished, which is host name is done. Second is IP address to LAN port. The third task is a what was the default status of LAN port? Shutdown. Then how to activate it? No, very simple command. So let me repeat. Default status is a shutdown. Then how can remove it? What was the command to remove anything? Just add command is what? No. This complete command is what? No shutdown. If you see guys here, if you zoom your screen, router to switch, your LED port color is showing is what? Red color, right? Means the port is now shut down, is not activated. Data transmission is not possible yet. Now let me configure, let me activate the port here. No shutdown. Enter. So we got one log message. What is the log message? Interface fast Ethernet 0/0 changed state to up. So now only my LAN port is being activated. No shutdown. This port is being activated. Now back to your screen, and if you check your router state, LED port state is what here now. It's become what? Green color. Data transmission started now. The router LAN port is ready to packet switching. Packet switching function is not enabled. Right? And what was the next configuration is what? Password to console port. Set console password to what? Console port. on router. Line console port number 0. Password space. Say password is a Cisco. Login. Password Cisco is the creation of password. Login is a command to activate the password. Now password is activated. Then how we can check my router is secure or not? Exit. Back to configuration mode. Again, if exit means single step back. Exit. Again, if you type exit, now total out of all the modes from your router, right? So showing here one message here. India router console port is now available. If you press enter, user access verification. That's the password. Means my router is secure now. My router console port is what? Secure. Online participants, I'm sharing my net banking password to all of you. Want to use it? You can utilize it. Let me type my password. This is my password. What is my password, guys? Can you guess what was the password? My what can be my password? Can you guess it? Come on, Minhas, guess it, guess it. See, I have typed my net banking, not the router password. My net banking password, I typed it here. Try to guess it password. Two people can do it. Try to guess it. One, two, three, four. ZOOM Zoom. Perfect. Very good guessing, but it's not a password. Right. Rakesh and Nagasiva. You tried. Rakesh, you tried the guess, right? You know, Rakesh, why you are telling Zoom is a password? And Nagasiva, how you can tell 1, 2, 3, 4 is a password? You know, Rakesh is thinking about, so I had typed in some 4 characters, right? Dot, star, star, 4 stars. So you don't know what is my password exactly, but you can come to know my password is a 4 characters. Then you are going to thinking about what? Oh, the person, the ball is working on his Zoom technologies. Okay, maybe Zoom can be a password. Like maybe you can guess like my name is what? Balu. 4 characters. You can guess like that also. So Nagaseva is trying to guess, okay, 4 characters, generally 1, 2, 3, 4 or 4, 3, 2, 1. Right? But you don't know my password is exactly, but you can come to know my password is a 4 characters. Now I can start doing the work on it, right? Like how Zoom, MOOZ, 1, 2, 3, 4, ABCD, like BALU, something you are trying to. Maybe at end of the day, you can come to know my exactly password. Same thing happen the real time also. When you enter your Cisco router passwords, you can have a shoulder surfing, like we call shoulder attacks. Internally, your employees, like your junior administrators, is going to backside of yours, right? Maybe behind of yours. Like example, when you're traveling in your bus and your flights, in the backside people can watch your screen. So what you're typing your Facebook password, even they don't know password, but they can come to know by seeing the dots. Okay, so and so person password is a 5 characters or 6 characters, right? How? By seeing the dots and stars, right? But here, when you are typing your Cisco router passwords, like let me type the password here. SISCO. Do you have any dots and stars here? Nothing. We need to enter the proper password. Give enter. Login. Even the shoulder attacks also they don't know how many characters your password has. It's a very good option in the Cisco router. Right? We can configure initial configuration of router, hosting, IP address, show commands, and console password, enable password, the net password. So now you tell me, guys, India greater than symbol means is India router. Which mode it is? User mode, right? So user mode for which employees, which users, which administrators, junior administrator. Now what as a junior administrator, what I'm doing is if I type enable, let's say I'm a junior administrator, I got user mode. If junior administrator type enable command, so junior administrator also is getting which mode, guys? Now senior admin mode, privilege mode. Now junior administrators also, all junior administrators can come to privilege mode and they can use the show commands and they can go for configuration mode. I can change the password, I can change the IP address, and they can do, right? So there is no security between the user mode and privilege mode. So we need to control the junior administrators in user mode only. Then what we need to do? We need to set one password between the user mode and privilege mode. So that password we call enable password. Configure terminal. In global configuration mode, use command enable password. Let's say password is a Zoom. Configure now. So before configuration of enable password, if I type enable command without any authentication, I'm getting privilege mode, right? Let me go back one step. Privilege mode. Type disable command, you can get user mode. We type and again enable. Is asking what, guys? Now password means junior engineers, there is no chance to get what? Privilege mode without password. Okay. Let me type Zoom. Now get a privilege. All of you just try to take a screenshot of all the commands. Next. Done. Right. Second page. Console password. Mobile password. This is a second page. Yeah. Now can take. So these are all the practicals. You try to practice it. Monday, let me continue with some more configuration of WAN technologies and configuration.